There are certain rules that just come into play for winter golf, and even ones that are more prevalent when we get into those wet and windy conditions. So what are they and how can we get relief from them? Today we're meeting up with PGA rules professional David Rishworth to find out. So a big winter rule that's in place in most areas is preferred lies. So anywhere basically that you're on fairway or that height of grass, you can actually clean your ball and improve your lie.
Correct. If the ball lands in an area cut to fairway height or less, you are entitled to lift your ball, clean it and put it back within a certain distance. It can be 6 inches, it can be a scorecard length, it could even be a club length, but that's a local rule of the club and it's best checking with your own golf club to see what specification you do have. But basically 6 inches, you're not going to go wrong with 6 inches.
So in this scenario, do I need to mark the golf ball?
You don't have to. You won't be penalised if you don't, but I always think it's a good practice to mark it because it gives a reference point. You're not going to put it down nearer the hole, so it's just for good practice.
I always like to do that just so I know, and then also it's easier to know if you've got your 6 inches or your club length.
Correct.
How far away that is.
Absolutely.
Now I can clean the golf ball.
You can clean the ball or you can replace it with another ball.
Oh, so I could get a nice clean golf ball out of my bag and put it down.
Perfect, yeah.
So once I've placed this no nearer the hole within my allocated distance, if I place that and then decide I didn't like it, can I prefer it again?
No. Once the ball's back down in play, that's you can't move it again. So just make sure you initially give yourself a good lie, because you're not going to be able to move it again.
So if I'd placed that down and it had rolled away?
Yeah, if the ball was in play, I always think 5, 6, 7 seconds is the time that you allow a ball to stay motion. If it then moves off its own accord, the ball will be in play wherever it moves to.
But presumably if I was putting this down on a slope and it didn't want to stay still, I've just got to find the nearest place that it will.
You find the nearest point, not near the hole, where it will come to rest and stay at rest.
Perfect. So now my ball's in play and hopefully I can chip this close. So embedded ball rule, not necessarily something that's specifically a winter rule, but it definitely comes up a lot more in winter when we get kind of wet, rough and semi-rough.
Correct.
So what relief would I be entitled to here?
Well, as it's in the general area, you would be entitled to relief. A spot immediately behind the ball. I mean, if you want to just check, sometimes the ball could lie a little bit down in the grass, which isn't then embedded. So what we'll do, we'll just put a T-peg and then we'll lift the ball. And then I'll just check whether, it's quite clearly, it's below the level of the ground.
Yeah, and you can see like a hole in the soil.
Yeah, it doesn't have to touch the soil, but it is below the level of the ground. So that's embedded. So we'll put the ball, we'll just put the ball back, and that's going to be your reference point immediately behind the ball for your club length either side. And once you've done that, you can lift the ball and put another ball down or use that ball, but you can certainly clean that ball.
So in this scenario, one club length could actually just get me out of the rough and into the fairway.
Yeah, well, you'll be entitled to do that. It's classed as the general area, so providing you drop it within the T-peg.
Need some accuracy here now. Now that's like half in front of the tee, so is that too far forwards?
No, I'd say that was fine myself. No nearer the hole, so in play. We've just got to decide now whether it's on the fairway or in the rough.
Because if that's on the fairway now, I can take preferred lies.
You can.
Relief.
Yep. That's
and
fine.
move further away from that collar of rough.
Correct.
So I could go ahead, mark it, clean it, take my 6 inches and place the ball.
Yep. Fine. That's good.
Which has definitely made my next shot a little bit easier.
It is. Yep. You've got a break there.
People tend to use winter for clearing out the golf course, and my ball has now ended up in a big pile of tree cuttings. Please tell me I get free relief here.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's all accumulation of loose impediments. There's not a mark around it, So the committee haven't declared it ground under repair officially, but I think we can safely say that this is going to be removed at some point. So therefore it will be ground under repair, which you're entitled to free relief. If it wasn't classed as ground under repair, you could remove as much loose impediments as possible, but just be careful, you possibly would move. But we're going to treat this as ground under repair because it's clearly going to be removed. So there again, nearest point of relief. If we're going to the flag there, let's just have a look. I'd say about here, as you well say, and then with a club length from there.
I don't need to mark the spot of the ball,
No, you're not replacing it. So you're going to drop within the T-pegs, and away you go. That's it.
Now this is a big accumulation of kind of tree cuttings. Would the situation differ if, say, this was just a big pile of leaves that had blown up against the tree and my ball was in them?
If the leaves have been blown to this area, I wouldn't have said they were going to be removed. There again, they will be classed as loose impediments, so you could move them, but in my view, they won't be classed as ground under repair.
So, yeah, so you just treat it as loose impediments?
Yeah, this has been man-made, dumping all the twigs and leaves, branches in that area. So there'll be no relief for just accumulation of leaves.
Yes, I think that's important to note. There is quite a big difference there between something that's specifically being man-made put there and something that's just accidentally accumulated there. So to make sure you treat those two as separate things.
Absolutely.
So you don't get any penalty
Absolutely.
shots. So temporary greens are in play today, but I've seriously overshot the mark and I'm actually on the green, the main green. Can I just hit my shot off here? You
can't. This is classed now as a wrong putting green. When temporary greens are in play, to protect the proper greens, you can't play from them, so you will have to go and take relief. It's just the nearest point of relief.
Mm-hmm. But presumably no nearer the hole.
No nearer the hole, so we're going to just come and have a look. Obviously that side is further away. So I would be, it's complete relief for lie of ball, area of intended swing and stance.
Yeah, so
you might just be hitting the
feet have to be off the green as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you were left-handed, you couldn't play it like that. You have to have the whole area off.
So you have a club length from that T-peg. Lift clean and then drop within that T-peg.
Better repair my pitch mark as well.
And then it'll be just a drop, ball coming to rest within the tee net with those T-pegs. Okay, good.
Now, because preferred lies is also in play, could I then go ahead and prefer that if I wanted to?
You could, yep, that's no problem. You're in an area cut to fairway height or less.
So I can put it on a nice little T-peg.
Correct, that's it. I noticed you did mark the ball there.
Yeah.
Good practice, but if you don't mark it, you won't be penalised.
Okay.
But I always say it's good practice to mark it, because you're not replacing it.
Yeah.
But,
so I'm on the green, and although I can't see any water, the ground feels very squelching. If I move my feet in, I can see water coming up on the surface. Do I get relief for that?
As you quite rightly said, there's got to be accumulation of visible water on the green, either before you take your stance or after, without you pressing anything down.
Okay.
And clearly there's no water to be seen there, so you wouldn't get relief. Relief will be denied.
So say this green was underwater, how would I go about getting relief for that?
Okay, well, we'll have to go to an area no nearer the hole, either on the putting green or in the general area, which avoids the accumulation of water. So we could, let's just say we'd come to the same distance.
Yep.
We could estimate where we want the ball to go. Providing this is clear of all water, we would place the ball down. We wouldn't drop it, we would place it, because your ball is originally on the green.
And the green's a bit different to the general area in the sense we can get line of sight relief for water when we're putting.
When you're on the green.
When we're on the
Correct.
green, yeah.
But if you're off the green, there's no line of sight.
Yeah, so even if this area is dry, if there's a puddle up there that's kind of in my line, I can still move to the side away from that.
Absolutely, yes. Correct. If there's a puddle in between the ball and the flag, we could move up here, but it doesn't have to be on the green.
Yeah, so we could move into the fringe or the semi-rough.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because people probably wouldn't think you can move off the green.
Yeah, people think, oh, if my ball's originally on the green, I should still be able to use my putter when it's on the green, but it's the nearest point of relief either on the putting green or in the general area.
Yeah, so in this situation, if the nearest point was there with no water, I would have to go there. I couldn't go all the way down that side.
No. Nearest point would be here, off the green, in the general area.